The LifeCell Marine Safety Company brings you the LifeCell, a world first in marine safety. LifeCell directors Scott Smiles and Rick Matthews and their 11-year-old sons survived a real-life accident at sea, inspiring them to create a device that redefines how safety equipment is stored and used on boats to improve survival rates. Now it is fully endorsed by the very people that saved their lives, the Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter. The LifeCell will reduce the number of people that tragically lose their life in boating incidents. Mounted in an easy-to-access location, highly visible with clear signage. The LifeCell is quick and easy to access in time of emergency, and it's simple to use, even for the novice boater. LifeCell's goal is to introduce a new standard in boating safety. LifeCell can help to avoid a life-threatening situation in the event of an emergency by ensuring that safety equipment is in one place and ready to go, stored safely in a buoyant device rather than misplaced under a seat, in a gunnel or at the back of a cupboard. With no safety induction on the majority of boats, when an unforeseen incident does occur, many people on board do not know what to do. In addition to saving lives, LifeCell's mission is to also reduce the cost of maritime rescue operations and routine inspections and get maritime safety back on the public agenda. The LifeCell is manufactured to the highest of standards and considered to be a lifelong product. Constructed from impact-resistant fire-retardant polyethylene and filled with closed-cell waterproof polyurethane foam. The LifeCell comes in 4 sizes. The trailer boat assists 2 to 4 people. The yachtsman assists 4 people. The trawlerman assists 6 people. The crewman assists 8 people. LifeCells hold all mandatory safety equipment: EPIRB, flares, air horn or whistle, V-sheet, torch, heliograph or mirror. There is also room for wallet, keys, phone, sunblock and a handheld VHF radio. Even water can be stored in the LifeCell, all kept dry and safe in the LifeCell's compartment and ready for any emergency. Designed to keep people together in water in times of panic, all LifeCells come with lanyards so that users are not separated from the LifeCell in case of fatigue or high seas. Whether you're just a recreational fisherman, boating for pleasure, yachting or have a commercial application, the LifeCell should be on board. Accidents happen fast and you may end up in the water wearing a life jacket, but without your safety equipment, you are unable to notify marine rescue authorities. The consequences can be deadly. Be prepared. Don't get lost at sea. Get a LifeCell on board.
Rescuers say an emergency beacon almost certainly saved the lives of two boys and their dads when their fishing boat sank off Dee Why this morning. The group clung to an esky as rescue crews tracked their GPS signal.
A welcome exchange. Cans spill from the esky and into the ocean. Then the raft's away, two fathers and their sons on the way to safety. Police scoop up the fishermen and race them from the waters off Sydney's North Head back onto dry land. An ambulance stands by to rush 46-year-old Ryan Matthews to hospital. He's suffering petrol burns and has a fishing lure embedded in his leg. 11-year-old Riley Smiles is unhurt but stunned.
I seen the helicopter, then this big bang thing hit the water, and this big raft that almost hit me.
Even sailing around Cape York couldn't prepare him for being shaken awake and thrown into the sea.
And what were you thinking?
Scared.
Yeah?
Black smoke from the exhaust was the first and only sign of trouble before the 41-foot motor launcher went down in under a minute.
Grabbed the EPIRB, grabbed my wallet, ran out. By that time Rick had life jackets on the boys. I jumped off, grabbed the esky, jumped off the back deck.
These beacons give a GPS location within metres and we are able to get to people very quickly. Had he not done that, I can almost guarantee you we'd still be searching for them.
The Coffs Harbour locals spent an hour in the rolling sea.
It wasn't cold for the first 20 minutes, but then it was really cold.
Before help arrived. Expensive fishing gear and almost $3,000 in cash has ended up at the bottom of the ocean. Still, Scott Smiles knows the boat's most precious cargo has returned safely to shore. Like father, like son.
I lost everything, but I can buy all the stuff again.
Life you can't put a price on. Jacqueline Maddock, 10 News.
We certainly look at every day that we have here as being ready to expect the unexpected.
It's a pretty unique situation, meeting someone probably on the worst day of their life.
Accidents happen, people make mistakes, we're not perfect. And when that does happen, we rely on the help of others to get us out of trouble.
You're going to work sort of going, well, okay, what's the weather like for the day? Which way is the wind blowing? Is the southerly coming through? What's the worst time of the day?
We've got routines, you know, daily briefs and aircraft checks, but all of a sudden the bat phone, as we affectionately call it, can ring, and then
Steamed for about 2 hours north when I noticed some black smoke. Went downstairs and there was already 2 or 3 tonne of water swirling around the motor. I knew we were going to sink.
And then realised got to get the kids because they were asleep.
My dad or Rick got us up and we put our life jackets on.
My thoughts were to them, but also to Rick because I know he's not a strong swimmer. That's why I grabbed the esky.
I just jumped into the water off the top of the boat. I only had to swim a couple of metres and grab the esky.
The boat went from a 45 to vertical and sunk within a split second. And Rick looked at me and said, "What happened?" I said, "It sunk." He was in shock. He's obviously in shock. The lure we were towing came past and it hooked on another lure that had got stuck on his jacket, his spray jacket. So he got dragged under the water, pulled his spray jacket off his body, came back up in a panic, and then the lure dug into his knee and dragged him back under the water again.
The bat phone had gone off and we'd received a call that only there was a 000 call.
We knew that there was someone off Sydney in trouble. That's it, that's all we knew.
So we prepared ourselves for more than one person in the water, but we didn't know whether we were coming to 30 people in the water or 2 or 1.
And I just kept telling the boys, and Rick, don't worry, everything's all right. We've got the EPIRB, we're going to be right. Westpac Lifesaver will come. I knew who would be coming.
The first thing we looked for was craft to give us any indication that they'd either seen a vessel go down or they're in fact themselves in distress, and there was none of that.
We had an indication from Australian Search and Rescue in Canberra that there had been a glimmer of a distress beacon more south towards Sydney Heads.
You could see the land, but it felt like thousands of miles away.
By this stage, we're sort of an hour and 15 into the search. I remember the wind had started picking up and pushing the swell, so it was starting to white cap.
Things were starting to look very bad. You could tell the boys were slipping into a bit of shock.
I was feeling weak, and I didn't know if it didn't come, I didn't know. And things were sort of going through my mind, like whether I'm going to see the family again.
The worst fear for that hour that we were in the water was that we were going to lose the boys.
We had maps out, we had computer programs running and everything to try and figure out where might they be.
When we first found them, what we saw was 2 life jackets. That's all we spotted, because it was a grey esky and almost a grey water, and everyone was wearing dark clothes.
And there was 2 or 3 choppers all in a row. There was film crew and the Westpac Rescue. It was the best feeling.
We're saved. I'm going to see my son again.
4 people, we can't retrieve all at once. With the equipment that we've got on board, we've got a 10-person life raft, and we thought we had other services. Police, water police are on the way.
And I deemed that the safest thing to do was to actually not winch, but wait for the water police.
We decided at that stage, get a life raft to them, get them out of the water.
Once we got in that raft, I gave me Ryan a cuddle, and yeah, it was the best feeling.
It felt good to know that they were now in a much more controlled environment.
It was just another day. We thought that we were very excited. We just bought the boat. We were taking it to Yamba.
And I said, how good is this? And we're just on top of the world. And then 50 seconds later, we're at the lowest point in my life, I think.
I knew that Westpac Lifesaver would come because they're the people that save everyone when this boat sinks or something happens.
If Westpac Lifesaver Rescue didn't exist, I don't know whether I'd be here today, because I was not in a good way.
I kept telling them, don't worry, they'll come, and sure enough they did.
There's been a dramatic air and sea rescue off Sydney after a mayday call came from a sinking boat. The vessel was 5 nautical miles off North Head when it got into trouble early this morning. The Westpac Rescue helicopter found the 2 children and 2 adults clinging to a floating esky.
By the time rescue teams located the stricken crew, which included 2 11-year-old boys, the boat was gone. The day had started as a fishing trip on calm seas, but a fire broke out on board the 40-foot cruiser Intrepid. As the boat lurched and took water, Scott Smiles grabbed the children and an esky.
I knew that we'd be in the water. There was no, beyond the point of return, the boat was, almost vertical, so.
One of the men was injured, suffering minor burns from oil on the water. Police say the outcome could have been so much worse. Had Scott not grabbed one more item from the boat, the emergency beacon.
Scott, his friend and the 2 kids were picked up within 45 minutes of that boat going down because of one reason, and that is he had the presence of mind to activate the emergency beacon. And what we need to tell people is these beacons give a GPS location within metres.
The beacon and life jackets on the children may have saved their lives. The Westpac rescue helicopter hovered above the group until they were safe in a police boat.
I just told the boys it'll be all right, they'll be there soon. I said we've got the EPIRB and it was beeping, so I knew it was working.
The boys are said to be doing well. The young crew of the Intrepid will have proved they have courage to match the name of the boat that sank beneath them.